Hey, Seminole fans, good evening and welcome to our episode 16 of the Robert Hook Show. We are live here tonight on Facebook and on YouTube, and it's just took us a week to kind of get everything together with basketball getting in full swing and Coach trying to get some things. He had a award show. We'll go over that here in a little bit. They had to take care of, and we were not able to come on Tuesday night, so we decided just to, hey, right here before Christmas, we'll come to you live here tonight. And folks, don't forget, you can watch here on Facebook, or if you're on YouTube, if you want to ask some questions, our producer Jade Gonzalez will be monitoring the questions here tonight, and he'll get them to us, and we'll do the best we can to answer them as we get along here. I am being joined by head football coach of your Ocilla Seminoles, Robert Hooks, and the best color analyst I know, my cousin Bobby Eflin, and we got Jay Gonzalez behind the scenes over there, and Gage Eflin doing the camera. So, Coach, here we are, end of the season. Wish we could talk about a positive that came out of the ball game and the state championship game, but nevertheless, we get to talk to about a great season, wonderful season. You got a chance to play in the state championship game one more time. Just wasn't meant to be on that game. Had pretty good weather. Temperatures were good. Weather was good. We just could not pull it off against a good Harding Academy team. Coach, what we'll do is, if you want to, like we always do, we'll just start at the very beginning of the game against Harding Academy. I felt pretty good. I mean, getting into the ball game, you go through the first quarter without any score, 0-0 at the end of one. Both teams trying to figure out each other. And then we get to the second quarter. Seminoles strike first, 11:24 left in the second. Number one, Dan Newsom has a 61-yard touchdown run. Jacob O'Kane's extra point was good. Seminoles led 7-0. So, Coach, right then, you had to feel good about your chances, especially stopping them in the first quarter, then getting the first score of the game in the second quarter. Just talk a little bit about that and your whole mindset in the first quarter about what you wanted to do to stop them on offense.
Well, I thought that first off, there was a score in the first quarter. We had one called back.
Right.
They called a holding on one of the linemen. I can't remember who it was. I think they called it on Jacob, but that one right there that hurt and put us back behind the chains, and from there we kind of battled back and forth, and Dan touches it and takes it. What was it, 67 yards, I think.
Yep.
I can't tell you how proud of him. I'm proud of all of them, but Dan really stepped up and played like a warrior. Did a good job of playing the game, and I thought that the game plan coming in was we were going to attempt to stop who we thought their best players were 5 Sheffield and 20 Duggar and of course Sipes. And those three are the ones that that end up killing us in the end. But having MJ in the game early in the first and most of the second quarter, he was an impact on the defense more so than the offense. And early, they weren't able to run the football like they typically were, and he provided pressure on Sipes on every snap. I thought we got.
They did a job of tempoing us. They had 2 guys to play both ways, and they didn't play both ways the whole game. That was Duggar played ways, and Sheffield cut some and played both ways. But other than that, they were 2 platooning, which was come out to be a big factor in the game. Hines 2020, maybe we should have slowed down a little bit. As far as our offense, and but hey, we hats off to a great Harding Academy football team.
But like Coach Hooks just talked about, Dan Newsom he's a senior, and he played like there was no tomorrow. I mean, it was lights out all night long. If you got to near him or if you gave it to him, he was very good when it came to the offensive and defensive side of the ball. It was very big that Dan got involved. You had a play here. I'm not exactly sure where it's at, but you had a play where your big maker Trey Moore playing defense has a trying to tackle on the offensive player and get him with the helmet. Now, one of the things, as with Trey Moore, Bobby, we know that Trey would never intentionally do anything like that. Both players are going low to the ground. Just happened to hit helmet to helmet. And when you somebody like Trey Moore, it's just huge.
Yeah, it's, Trey, and I've called him Mr. Dependable all year for a reason, because that's exactly what Trey's been. As I watched the play initially when it happened, it just looked to me like the runner was tackled from behind and they kind of fell into each other. I think Trey was going low. I think his intention was to get the legs out from under Stonefield. I don't think there was any intention for him to lower his head and make a helmet-to-helmet hit, but it happened that way. And there was helmet-to-helmet contact. What struck me about that play is that, and I do believe AAA rules provide for a warning on the first helmet-to-helmet contact. I know that there's a requirement that their warning be given, or it's just a provision that's up to the officials. But in that instance, in the game that it is, that's a senior football player, you don't see the officials come in and say, okay, we're going to give you 15 years here, but we're going to let you stay in the football game. Now, if it's an egregious error and it's something more intentional, I certainly could support the ejection at that point. But to me, that really could have been the turning point of the ball game. Tries everything well on defense and offense, but what we saw after that is we saw a Seminole football team go into halftime lead.
Yeah,
going up 20-9, and you see seniors like Greg Hooks Jr. and Dan Newsom and Troop, Jacob O'Kane. These kids out there, and they're playing their hearts out. MJ goes, and still we don't let up, and you still go out here and play football.
Brandon Johnson.
Yeah, Brandon Johnson. And I think Brandon going out of the football game, I think he tweaked his ankle, was huge, because Brandon gives you something in the backfield. In my estimation, running the football, he runs the football so hard. You just start losing all of that production. It's something difficult to overcome. But we saw the Seminoles respond, and we saw them continue to play hard, continue to show heart, continue to grind. And I felt good at halftime. And I know everybody else was thinking, crap, MJ's out. Oh man, Trey. But I'm thinking, hey, we're not in a bad spot here. You're up to 19. You still have the ability to move the football. Our defense is still playing well. I thought that, we were in really good shape at that point.
Well, and just to go back to the targeting, I don't think Osceola had a targeting all year. I mean, Coach, do you remember the targeting penalty we got helmet to helmet where a kid was thrown from Osceola?
No, they had the officials didn't call it. I think there's just something to do with state championship game.
Well, see, I don't agree. I mean, that's just me, Bobby. I don't agree with it. I mean, and let me tell you why. You've played all year long a certain way, and now here you get in the state championship game, you throw all new rules in, and I understand why they're there. I understand that they're there because you want to make sure you get it right. That's what we want to do, is make sure we get it right. But it all goes against everything you've done all year long. And I'm not saying we didn't target all year long, but if you looked at that play, and we watched it on 3 or 4 times while we were there, both young men are going to the ground. All they're trying to do, that young man's going to the ground, our defender's going to the ground. It just so happened as they both went around helmet to helmet. There was no intention. That you couldn't tell me that they proved intention. What they proved was there was helmet to helmet, but they couldn't tell you there was any intention to that. And I think the AAA, what they need to do is look and say, we got a target. If he launched with his head and you saw him launch, I can understand you throwing your hand out for that. But when you got 2 players going to the ground and there's nowhere else, if you're going to go, you've got to go to the ground with him. I think there should be something put in place that says, hey, it was not intentional. Both men were going to the ground. Hey, we're going to give 15-yard penalty because that's the rule, but I'm not throwing you out of the ball game. I mean, what you did is you took a senior that's played his heart out all year long, and you're not going to finish your year. It's over with. And you're not going to have a say-so on what you're going to do because they say that he made an error when he had no intention of a helmet to helmet. Hey, that's my do what you want to do, folks. You can talk about me. I don't care. I would have said it if it had been the other way around. You don't want to see a senior that's done everything right all year long. 2 young men going to the ground. They happen helmet to helmet, and he gets thrown out for it. Turning point of the ball game. I'll talk about it as we go along here. I will never blame the ball game on officials. I'm not blaming this on officials, but there was a lot of plays in this ball game that were dictated, that were that happened at the right and wrong time for one team or the other, and it could have been a lot different gone the other way. That's all I'm saying. Coach, we lose MJ Vance in the second quarter. At first we thought maybe it was concussion. Then his leg was hurt too. Can you talk a little bit about what happened to MJ there in the second?
He had a concussion-like symptoms. That's what it was. Never his leg. It was concussion-like symptoms, and he was not officially cleared, which is the word that we got, and that's why he had to kick out.
Okay, so with that, somebody medical looked at him and just didn't think he should go.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the official word on that because we never the actual official. Folks, just go back real quick. We're leading 7-0, 11:24 left. Harding Academy gets on the board with 81 left in the second. Sipes touchdown pass to McGahey. Extra point was great to tie at 7-7. Come back 5:29 left in the second quarter. Sheffield, number 5, Sheffield, the running back, has a 3-touchdown run. Extra point was no good. Harding Academy led 13-7. Seminole right back with 3:47 left in the second quarter. 53-yard touchdown pass from number 11, Don Taven Littleton. Number 13, Stephon Coleman. Extra point was good. And we have a 14-13 ball game. With 1:59 left, Harding Academy gets back on the board with a 21 touchdown pass to number 17, Sipes, to Ty Duggar. 2-point conversion is no good, 19-14. And with a minute 59 left, that gives Osceola a chance. And I've seen them run that 2-minute offense week after week after week. With 6 seconds left before the half, 21-yard touchdown pass from Don Taven Littleton, number 1, Dan Newsom. The extra blocked. Seminoles led 20-19 at the half. And Bobby, you had to go good after that.
I felt real good. I felt real good, especially after that last round, because you see MJ go out of the ball game. Talked about this all year, and I've said this to you here. You don't lose a whole lot when Don Taven comes into the football game. You lose that experience. You lose that leadership ability. But Don is a really, really good quarterback, and he doesn't possess the skills that MJ does. But here in the pocket, I would feel comfortable with Don Littleton, and he was able to execute that 2-point offense flawlessly. And drive down the field and put you on top. And you have to halftime thinking, hey, we're in bad shape here. We're not really hurt. And Michael, we've talked all year long about our sponsor and how they've made this thing work and how they've made us go. And if we can, just for a second, let's take a 2-minute break real quick and let our sponsor get a word in so that everyone can find out who put us in this position and who the ability to make this thing happen.
Folks, we'll be back with the second half of football in a minute.
Ed Harshman and Harshman Rentals, located at 202 West Johnson in Osceola, can meet all of your residential and storage rental needs. Harshman's has apartments and housing located throughout Osceola and Mississippi County, both furnished and unfurnished, available for rent. You can contact Harshman Rentals at 870-563-3694. Ed Harshman and Harshman Rentals are a proud sponsor of Osceola Seminole Athletics and the Seminole Nation. First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas is the official bank of the Seminole Nation and the Robert Hooks Show. Our premier sponsor, First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, is Eastern Arkansas's largest independently owned bank. First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas specializes in all your banking needs, including personal banking, online banking, business banking, savings accounts, loans, CDs, and IRAs. Go down to the First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, speak with President Greg Reese and teller supervisor and loan processor Taylor Lucius for all your banking needs. First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas is a proud sponsor of the Osceola Seminole Nation and the Robert Hooks Show. First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, member FDIC. H&R Block of Mississippi County is a tax preparation and financial service located at 2981 West Kaiser in Osceola. They can be reached at 870-563-5710. H&R Block of Mississippi County is a proud sponsor of the Seminole Nation. Roller Swift Funeral Home of Osceola is a proud sponsor of the Seminole Nation and Osceola Seminole Athletics. Located at 2173 US 61 South, Roller Swift Funeral Home specializes in funeral services and helping families with the costs associated with them.
For more information, contact them at 870-563-6578 and speak with David Tucker. Roller Swift Funeral Home, with all our respect. Bugmobile of Arkansas, located at 408 South Walnut in Osceola, specializes in pest control and termite control for both residential and commercial properties. Owners Oscar and Jade Gonzalez would be happy to come out and give you a free estimate, and you can also contact Bugmobile at 870-563-6811. Bugmobile is a proud sponsor of your Osceola Seminoles and the Seminole Nation.
And welcome back to the Robert Hooks Show. We are live here on Facebook and YouTube. I want to thank everybody for watching here tonight on our live version of the last Robert Hooks Show of the year. Had a question. We just got a question in. Want to know about the Seminoles for next year. In my opinion, I think we pick up where we left off. You get your quarterback, Don Taven, who played a lot this year. You'll get him back. We'll kind of go over that here in a few minutes. We're gonna do a segment on next year's team. So, but as far as just right now, just stay tuned and we'll make sure we get it to us. But hey, I think we picked right up where we left off. I really do.
That goes out to Big Dog Will on YouTube.
Yep.
We'll get to that question here in just a little
We
bit.
sure will. We'll make sure we do it. So another one, Jade.
Was how does the coach feel about officiating from Daniel Enos?
Okay, Coach. You wanna talk about that?
I felt it was just like any other game. You know, you're gonna get some unfortunate calls, but you know, we still had chances to make plays, and we didn't execute. I as a play caller have to do a better job of just keeping the chains moving, and I didn't do that. Maybe got a little bit impatient, but as far as officiating, we're not gonna blame any officials, because you know we can control our own destiny. So you know, had some unfortunate calls. The biggest thing was losing Trey. You know, losing Trey, a guy who's one of your better receivers, your better defensive back, your punt returner, kick returner, and also your holder, special team. So you lose a lot as far as just experience and big play guy, you know. So that hurt more than anything. And then MJ going down and Brandon Johnson. So you know, we were down 3 starters at one point. So you know, that was the biggest thing. Just I have to help us control the tempo a little bit. You know, they run 74 plays, we run 64. That's a lot, especially with the defensive scheme. We played a lot of man coverage, which is the reason that we were a little winded. You know, we should have mixed it up with just a little bit more zone. But hey, going back, and if I had to do it all over again, would still do the same thing, but just change it up, just maybe 8 to 10 plays.
And I'll grab that for you, Daniel, because coach is gonna. He's not deflecting by any means or any stretch of the imagination. I didn't see what I thought was a lopsided officiated game. Now when penalties come in particular points of a football game, they can have more of an effect on one team than the other. But what may blow your mind is Harding Academy actually had more penalties and more penalty yardage than Osceola.
We can talk about that all day long.
There was 13 penalties against Harding for 101 yards. Osceola had 12 penalties for 79. What strikes me about that is the fact that there were 25 penalties in a state championship football game. There were 6 false start penalties on Harding Academy and 5 against Osceola. Now, these 2 football teams didn't come into the state championship and all of a sudden forget how to line up and get set. So what struck me, and after there was one drive, Harding had possession of the football where they had 4 false start penalties in a row. Boom, 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 boom. And I was deliberately looking for the kid that was jumping, and I couldn't find him. So I don't know what the officials were looking at or what they were seeing on these false starts. A couple of the false start penalties against Osceola, again, I'm deliberately looking for who's jumping, where's it coming from. We never got a number. We were never told who jumped. But I couldn't find that person that was jumping. So what I took away from the officiating is that the officials made themselves a part of the football game. And being an official myself and refereeing football and umpiring baseball and basketball and softball, those things, you really want to be an unknown. As an official, you want to make the calls that are right in front of you. You want to make the calls that are egregious. You want to make the ones you see. but you don't want to become a part of the game. And I think that my takeaway from that was this crew seemed to be determined to be a part of the game. And that's in no way is that a knock on their ability or the I don't know the officials, and I'm sure they're great people, but it seemed they were way too involved in the football game for my taste. Now, if they're seeing the penalties, they've got to call them, but it seemed like they had a desire to be a part of the game.
Coach, I thought, okay. My thing, Bobby, on that, I just felt there was times when there was calls that weren't made, that could have been made, but then there was times that they were made, and it hurt one team or the other. That was my problem with the whole thing, because there was times that we sit there and watch the hold happen that they let go, and then turn right around, and on the next possession they call the same hold on the other team. That's the only thing that gets me about it. When I say that it dictated the ball game, and sometimes it dictated the ball game, folks, I'm going to tell you right now, you go back to Channel 8 News, they've got a video on there of our quarterback running the sideline, takes a helmet to helmet from Harding Academy, and it was not even flagged at all. Not even reviewed,
an official in
not
the
even
frame
flagged.
too. There's
So
an official
all I'm
right
saying
there.
is what's good for one is good for the other. You want to run replay, you use your replay. I mean, a helmet to helmet to our quarterback on the sideline, it's on Channel 8 News. You ain't got to look at our video. You can look at their video, and they'll show it, because they showed it on purpose to show that there was a helmet to helmet on our quarterback. And I'm talking about a clear helmet to helmet that wasn't even flagged. And then all of a sudden, it's all good, nothing happens. But then you get towards the end of the game, and they want to start. Bobby, you said that they had more penalty flags.
They did.
It's because of it all happened at the end of the game. See, you think the referees don't know, but they know how it is.
It seemed there was a disconnect across the crew.
I agree.
And I saw a couple of officials that were willing to let the game happen and let them play. I saw a couple of officials that were calling it about as tight to the rule as you could call it. So, normally those crews, any crew I've been involved in and the officiating that I've done, we've came together and said, okay, is there something that we're looking for? Has there been something passed down from whatever sanctioning body? I umpired a softball tournament years ago, and U-Trip was really wanting to focus on leaving the bag early, girls softball, and so we were really looking at okay, are these girls leaving the bag early? So oftentimes I'm sure AAA comes down and says, hey guys, we've got whatever going on, you need to focus on this penalty or this particular rule infraction. It just seemed to be disconnected a little bit on the crew, and you seem to have a couple of guys that really were towing the line and a couple of guys that were letting them play. And that can, again, that can cause some, confusion. We had an offensive offsides. I can't remember the last offensive offsides I've seen.
Right.
So
well, I mean, if it's on a receiver, he's asking for help.
He's asking.
He's telling the line judge, "Am I good?" And the man has to tell him yes or no. Usually,
I don't know how to explain that. I mean, all I can tell you is that it just seemed to me they wanted to be part of the game, and that is unfortunate for a state championship football game.
I agree.
One that was otherwise very well played.
Yes.
And we didn't see the chippiness that you thought you might see in that football game. You didn't, you had two teams who were very disciplined, came out and played well, and it just seemed that 25. You just let that digest. 25 penalties in a football game, and I think the average is somewhere around 8. And
these are your two best teams in 3A.
Yes,
two best teams in 3A. And folks, when I say that, I mean that. The two teams that played the state championship game are the two best teams in 3A. I don't care what nobody says about any other team that didn't make it. I'm telling you, the two best teams that played for the state championship were the best two. And hey, nothing against Harding Academy, folks. I'm gonna tell you right now, they're the real deal. They are the real deal. I mean,
and that's the why I made the point on the false starts. Yes. They are absolutely. They are an excellent football team.
Yes,
and they are coached very well.
Very well.
And they come in on one series and have 4 false starts. I mean, that just does not.
It don't happen.
Doesn't make sense to me.
All right, let's go to the third quarter, folks. This is kind of where it all fell apart for Osceola. Right off the kickoff, we stopped them. You get them right about the 45-yard line or so, and they hit a big run on the outside that takes it all the way down to I don't know, close to 10-yard line or so. They have some penalties, but 10:42 left in the third. Ben Sloan has a 29-yard field goal that puts them up 22-20. We get to 4:55 left in the third. A 25-yard touchdown run for number 5 Sheffield. The extra point was good. They led 29-20. They get the ball back. 3:28 left in the third. 1-yard touchdown run by Caden Sipes. Extra point is good. They lead 36-20. And then with 1:04 left in the third, 59-yard pick six from number 20 Ty Duggar. Extra point was good. 43-20 they led, and the only other score in the third quarter, Osceola gets on the board for their last score of the ball game. 14-yard touchdown pass from Dontaven Littleton to number 1 Dan Newsom. Extra point was no good. At the end of the third quarter, 43-26. So 1, 2, 3, 4 scores in a row. We throw that pick six, and that's how the ball game. That's what took over the ball game right there. They had great success in the third quarter. We couldn't capitalize, and defense just could not keep them out of the end zone. And coach, it hurt when we threw that pick six also.
But you got to take a positive away from that. That's a pick six, and that's a play that was open to play before. You came back to it because there was quite a bit of cushion on Greg on that side of the field. Duggar realizes that this is going to happen. He comes up, he makes a great play on the football, and he goes. But what happens next is we take the kickoff. Dontaven Littleton comes back on the field and drives us right down the football field for a score.
Right.
He never choked. He never let up. He was making throws that we needed to see happen. And I think I call them super sophomores. But I look at Dontaven and AJ, and that's got to make you smile for next year. It's got to.
Oh yeah. Also, we miss a huge pass interference call. We go for it on fourth down. We're down 36-20. And we go forward and, have Dan right across the middle. The guy just completely grabs him, reaches out, dives out, and grabs. Now that right there, that hurt. And it still, it touches Dan's fingertips, grazes off. We make that play. There's nobody within 15 yards around him. So, that's the play that hurt us right there. Unfortunate event. But also on the pick six, we go to the other side. We got both guys open, and that right there is just reps. That come with game like reps. You go to and they were double covering Greg anyway. So that's one of the things. It's just game like reps, and I take nothing from Dontaven. Like you say, he come right back and what he didn't flinch. He didn't flinch. Come back and lead us to the end zone once again. And I thought I was very proud of the way that our kids played. At any point of that game, they could have laid down and cried about what's going on. Spot the ball. Let's play football. Until the clock says 4-0-0-0, we're gonna play football.
Right. Well,
Seminole football.
But just like you said, Coach, is what I was trying to explain. They missed the pass interference call. Stuff like that dictates ball games, and it didn't happen all night, but it just seemed like when we needed that call and it was blatant right there in black and white, it doesn't happen, and that's just what got me from the ball game there, folks. We at the end of third quarter, 43-26. Harding Academy has blown this one wide open. One score in the fourth quarter, 83-yard touchdown pass from Sipes to Ty Duggar. Two-point conversion was good. And, folks, that was it. Harding Academy beats Osceola 51-26 in the state championship game. And Bobby, looking back, you want to win. Don't get me wrong. You want to win. We've been there 2 years in a row. It's eluded us 2 years in a row. But I promise you, and like I promised people last year, they done went back to work. We played on Saturday. On Monday, it was showtime. If you ain't in basketball, it's time to go. Because we want to be back in the same position again next year.
There's just no questioning the progress of the program. You just can't. And Coach Hooks is my friend, and I like him, but I'm not saying this lightly. The progression that has been made since he took over this football program. You're 3 years state semifinalist, 2 years in a row state finalist. you know, that does not happen by chance, and that was not a quick infusion of talent. That is preparation. That is going out and having kids ready to go. You know, and I look at what happened in the state championship game. You know, we knew a couple of guys were down. We knew a couple of guys might not play. And I look at kids like, you know, Dennis Davis. He's out there playing a lot more than he has in the past, but he's ready, and he's playing well. Looking at AJ moving into the slot, been playing tight end most of the year, moving into the slot, but he's ready. He's running crisp routes. He's where he's supposed to be. He's making plays. Defensively, you know, you and I talked about this on Friday before you went down, that you were going to put MJ at nose tackle. Hasn't done it all year, but he made a difference in the football game until he was hurt. You know, we knew that Sipe would roll. We knew that the interior, the guards and center of the Harding line were a little bit suspect. We knew we could get penetration up the middle. You knew they were going to roll the pocket. You knew that Sipe was comfortable outside the pocket throwing the football. Through the first half, he was never comfortable. He never got comfortable until about midway of the third quarter, and it really showed in his throws. He made some pretty bad throws there in the first half that were forced by that penetration, that pressure. Right. So the game plan was there, the preparation was there, the kids played. You know, you can only take so many hits when it finally starts to take a toll on the football game. But right to the end, you saw kids scrapping. You saw them out there scrapping. You know, and you see kids that are hungry and they want to play, and you know you're losing a lot. And, you know, we're going to talk about what we lose, but there's a lot coming back. There's a lot coming back, and when I look at Terrence Marshall, and I say that kid's a freshman, oh boy. So you know that there's people back there that are going to come up and play. So, I mean, I feel good about where the state of the program is.
Hey, let me throw this at you just real quick, Bobby. Coach Hooks has been here 3 years. 3 years at Osceola, and I hope he's here 20. I'm not going to lie about it, but 3 years here at Osceola. Year one, he's 11-3. Goes down to Junction City, play here or there. We're playing for year one. Robert White went out of that ball game. I'm not saying that. I mean, we can't win without Robert White that year, but Robert White was having his way with Junction City's defense. They couldn't touch him, and he gets hurt. We ended up not getting the ball in the end zone. Not bad. You know, that's in the past. But 11-3 year one in a state semifinal berth. Year two, here we are, 12-3. 12-3, and we get to play for it. You play for a state championship against Boonville. Come up short in that one. But you saw that a team, they could have just said, you know, we're not gonna be very good next year. We're not gonna play for it, so we're not gonna work hard. But they come back and they worked hard. They go 12-3 in Coach Hooks' second year. Played for a state championship game against Boonville, and then here we are this year, 12-2 overall. Play for a state championship one more time, and you get beat by a very, very good Harding Academy team. So just Bobby, think about it: state semifinal, finals. That's a good run. That's a heck of a run. There's a lot of teams sitting at home right now that wish they had that run.
There's nobody in the state that wouldn't take that run.
Yeah, all day long. I promise you that. Bobby, just a little bit about the season. Hey, I mean, we start out rocky, man. We go over there. We're hyped up. Going to play in the Hootens Kickoff Classic over in Jonesboro at Centennial Bank Stadium on the campus of Arkansas State University. Lay an egg against a very good Valley View team that went 10-0. 10-0.
Yep.
Conference championship. They end up getting beat in the first round by Morrilton. But folks, understand one thing. Morrilton's got a quarterback just signed with North Carolina. He's the real deal, and he had a good season, and it was because of him that they beat Valley View. Nothing against Valley View. They had a heck of a season. Very proud of them on what they got over there. I mean, like I said, outright conference championship. We laid an egg against them. But then, Bobby, we took off. I mean, we talked about the heart of a Seminole. I mean, they come back and could have said, maybe we're not very good. But no, that ain't what they did. They went back to work, beat a very good Blytheville team that's very well coached, 33-18 in week one. Week two, we played Gosnell, who's got a new coach. Is a very, very good coach. He
turned out to be a really good football team later in the year. Really good football team.
Nobody wanted to play Gosnell unless you got down towards the end of the year. We beat them 35-28. We get the bye week, and then it starts starts conference. We go over to Hoxie, beat Hoxie 41-14. Think about it. That's a Hoxie team that knocked off the defending state champion, the Boonville Bearcats, at their house.
And I think you and I talked about this in the booth right after that game. I said, this is huge. This football game right here is huge because you knew going into that game what that Hoxie team was.
Yes.
And we knew that was probably in conference outside of Newport. Hoxie was the measuring stick. And so you go into their place and you don't just win the football game, you dominate.
Yes, sir.
And so, at that point I thought, we had really turned the corner. We go back to week, the game against Nettleton, the scrimmage against Nettleton, and you could see right there, and Coach and I haven't talked about this, but I could see a coach that was proving a point, that he had seen what was coming through fall camp, and that he was telling people what was going to have to be done, and that point was coming true in game time situations, and you saw kids start to realize we've got to buy into this, and we've got to change a little bit. We saw the third quarter meltdowns in the first couple of games, and those things started to change.
Yep.
And so you saw that progression of that football team. We knew they were young. We talked all off season about how young they were going to be coming in. And you get out there and you look on the field, and you've got sophomores playing prominent roles in the football on the football team. Those things coming from my era, sophomores didn't play, and it was because the seniors were so much bigger and stronger, and it's true today.
Sure.
But you see these kids come out playing, and I really thought the Hoxie ball game was a turning point. We go over to Corning and struggle. You come out in the second half and you see a team that's rejuvenated. They come out and they play well. Piggott, the same thing. We had the same issues at Piggott, and then from there forward, we just didn't look back. You didn't look back through the playoffs. You didn't look back through the conference schedule. You beat a very, very talented Newport team. Soundly beat a very talented Newport team. And you just cruise through the playoffs, You don't do those things by luck. You just don't do them by luck.
Right. And, after you beat Hoxie there 41-14, you had to go to Walnut Ridge.
Yep.
And what happened? We were at the half. Struggled at Walnut Ridge at the half. A young man over there, Cole Manning, had his way. I mean, he just had his way with
solid football player.
Yes, very good football player. He had his way against us, but we come out and we beat Walnut Ridge 54-6. That tells you in the second half we kind of woke up and took control of the ball game. At home, we beat Manila 53-6. We get Harrisburg, and at the time Harrisburg was peaking a little bit. Mm-hmm. Hey, they're doing a great job over there at Harrisburg, getting their teams ready to play in football. They've turned it around. I had a good season this year, but we beat Harrisburg 49-7. Like you said, we go to Piggott, rain falling over at Piggott, kind of a cool night. It was a good one at the half, and you heard everybody all over the state. Oh, it's tied at half. Osceola and Piggott's tied at half. Seminoles come out in the second half, take care of business 34-12. Corning, same thing. Ended up winning that ball game 36-6. And then the showdown, the one everybody came for, everybody talked about all over the state. Both teams trying to get in each other's head. You had, he say, she say on both sides. Seminoles beat Newport 33-22, and like we talked about, it was we dominated this Newport team at Osceola. Most of their points come off special teams, turnovers. So your defense stepped up very big that night. Number one team going into the state playoffs. We get a bye week for the first week. Get Greenland, very good coach Greenland team on second round 2, beat them 50-20. Round 3, we get a good coached Melbourne team, beat them 40-22, and then Camden Harmony Grove comes to town. If you remember back when we talked to the Hootens in the Hooten Kickoff Classic, he told us, he said, you keep your eye on Camden Harmony Grove because they're a very good football team, and they were. They were a very good football team, but you limit them to a 38-6 win, 6 points on a team that just flat out has been scoring points all year long. So your
45 points a game.
Your defense stepped up in that ball game, coach, giving them 6 points. I mean, that's just unbelievable. And then, like I said, you get beat by Harding Academy in the championship game. what a run, folks. I mean, that's all I can say. I mean, you hate losing the state championship game, but look at the run you had. Look at the run. Look at what happened with the community. Look at what happened with the fans. It's not you want to win. Don't get me wrong. That's the number one thing. But at the end of the day, it stinks. It hurts. You think to yourself, man, are we ever gonna get over that hump? But if we can continue to do what we're doing now, we've started a new dynasty here. Back from the days when Coach Clinton Gore was here. I know he had a 4-year stretch where he won one, lost one, won one, lost one, 4 years in a row in the state championship game. Well, we've been close to getting in it the first year. We've been in the state championship game 2 years. Maybe we can reel off 2 in a row, and we'll have a 4-year stretch kind of like Clinton Gore and them had. You talking about next year? I mean, while we're finishing up on this year, talking about next year, we can go ahead and jump in that real quick. Folks, I'm telling you, the Seminoles just going to reload. The 9th grade group that's coming up, they're special, and I mean that. Don't get me wrong; it's going to hurt losing Trey Moore. It's going to hurt losing Greg Hooks. It's going to hurt losing Brandon Johnson. It's going to hurt losing all of those players like
MJ
that.
Van.
MJ
Dan
Van,
Newsom.
Dan Newsom,
Kenyon True, Chris Williams,
But see,
Jacob O'Kane,
but Coach, we talked about this last year.
Bill Estelle.
We talked about losing Jarek Scales. Oh, what are we gonna do? We're losing Jarek Scales. I mean, and you're losing them fine football players. And you said, man, are we gonna be able to recover? Well, folks, what's going on at Osceola right now is something special. You're seeing it from your OPAR, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, your 7th grade. You're seeing it in your 8th and 9th grade. We've got a good product coming through, and I'm telling you, the 9th graders, they lost one ball game, and that was to Newport. And Newport's got a heck of a 9th grade team, so they're going to be loaded. They're going to move over into conference with Harding Academy next year. So I can't wait to see that ball game next year between Newport and Harding Academy. That's going to be special. But just to say, go ahead, Coach. Go ahead.
I want to say one thing about the freshman class. You look at those scores and you say that we started to take off. We started to take off once the 9th grade come and practice with us. We had 16 guys to move up from a junior high team. And when they become our scout team, that made practice a whole lot more competitive, and which is why we were able to win the way that we were. It was because of that 9th grade group coming up and giving us a great look. A lot of times, being close to being just as good, if not better, than the team that we faced in the regular season or the playoffs. So, credit to those guys for coming out. Also, Doug Freeman come in and actually gave us a great look. So, that right there was huge and beneficial to our program.
And you just said it. You have Doug Freeman next year who will be eligible for his senior season at Osceola, which is huge. You're going to get hopefully you're going to get DeAnthony Poole back. DeAnthony has been a special case with an ACL injury. He tore his just a little bit, just about. He tore his ACL. We got him back a little bit. Ended up re-aggravating that ACL, and so we're looking forward to maybe having him back next year.
Right. This year, I think we were bigger. We weren't as fast as we were the first 2 years. I think next year again we'll be small up front, but I think we'll be faster top to bottom at the skill position. The other thing is you look out in the state championship game. At one point you had A.J. Harris, Kamarian Brooks. You had Terrence Marshall. You had 2 sophomores and a freshman on the defensive line. You go to outside backer. You got Jabari Person, who's a sophomore. You go to cornerback. You got Jaden Brown, who's at cornerback. Also, you got Chris Littleton, who's a junior, who's coming back. Dennis Davis, who's coming back. What we're going to lose those guys in the secondary. We're going to lose 3 guys in the secondary, and we're going to lose 3 really good receivers. And on offense, we lose 4. We lose 4 linemen. But, we actually had to replace 5 this year. So it's just a matter of getting back in the off season and working and learning and working on fundamentals. I think that we're going to be fine next year. It's just a matter of how fast that our young linemen can grow. And it may be a case where we start off slow the first 3-4 weeks, and we take off from week 5 on. I think we're gonna have some challenging moments early, but you still got two guys that can play quarterback with. That's with Dunn and AJ. You got two guys that can play tight end. Well, really three, and AJ, Kamari, and Chris Littleton. If we can get some more linemen to come on, so it's just a matter of right now we're going back to the drawing board, seeing who we think can do what, who can you trust. This is a time where championships are won. Championships are won in the off season, and we're going to see who we can trust and who's going to help propel us to be a state champion instead of a runner up.
Coach, we got a question about the schedule for next year. Have we got a week 0 game?
We do not.
Okay.
We do not have a week 0 game yet. So we're searching for a week 0 game.
That's something we're looking to add. Is a
Right.
week 0 game.
Yes.
Okay. Well, still play Blytheville. Had to go to Blytheville. Have to go to Gosnell.
Gosnell, week
Okay.
2.
And folks, a lot of you don't know. Every 2 years, the AAA looks at classification, and it goes by your number of students in school, and they have different cutoffs on to where it's 7A or 6A, 5A, 4A, 3A, and 2A. It goes by the range of kids that's in your school district about what classification you play in. Well, next year is the first year of the new cycle. In our conference, we're going to lose Newport. Newport's moving out of the 3A3, I think, moving on into the 3A4.
2.
Yeah.
2. That's going to be a heck of a conference.
3A2,
That's going to
yeah.
be a strong
You
conference.
got Hardin Academy, Newport, Melbourne, Riverview, who won their conference in 4A last year, moving down. I think Salem's moving up
Wow.
to that conference. So it's gonna be a very competitive conference next year.
We're getting Palestine Wheatley. Palestine Wheatley is moving into our conference, into the 3A3. So, the last 2 years have been special because you've always had that Week 10 game against Newport, and that was your rival. I mean, that was the one you knew you circled on the calendar because it's probably going to come down between you two. So next year we'll have a new Week 10 opponent, and we'll go from there. But as far as the schedule goes, we'll still play Blytheville. We'll have to go on the road next year. We'll still play Gosnell. We'll have to go on the road, and just stay tuned. We'll know when we find out our Week 0 opponent. We're looking for that right now.
Right.
If I know Hooks, he's probably trying to play Hoover or some top 5 team in the
East
country.
Panola.
If I know him right. What do you think, Bobby? Hoover?
Yeah, he wants to go to East Panola. He wants
Evangelist
to go to
Christian
Mississippi
or
or something. Yeah, I don't know what
Or
he's
he
doing.
wants what's that team out of what's that team out of Texas is the real deal?
Carthage and, and Lake Travis and
yeah. If I know.
full of 5 stars.
Hey, at this time, folks, we're going to take one more time out, let our sponsors get a word in. We'll come back in and just talk a little bit about what's in the future for us, for the Seminole Nation. But, hey, as you see them sponsors come across the screen, folks, if it wasn't for them, you would not have seen every ball game this year. They really stepped at the plate to get behind the Seminole Nation. They love Seminole football, and it was for them, or if it wasn't for them, we would not have been able to do that. So at this time, we'll take just a short break. We'll come back and we'll finish this out. Be right back.
Ed Harshman and Harshman Rentals, located at 202 West Johnson in Osceola, can meet all of your residential and storage rental needs. Harshman's has apartments and housing located throughout Osceola and Mississippi County, both furnished and unfurnished, available for rent. You can contact Harshman Rentals at 870-563-3694. Ed Harshman and Harshman Rentals are a proud sponsor of Osceola Seminole Athletics and the Seminole Nation. First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas is the official bank of the Seminole Nation and the Robert Hooks Show. Our premier sponsor, First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, is Eastern Arkansas's largest independently owned bank. First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas specializes in all your banking needs, including personal banking, online banking, business banking, savings accounts, loans, CDs, and IRAs. Go down to the First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, speak with President Greg Reese and teller supervisor and loan processor Taylor Lucius for all your banking needs. First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas is a proud sponsor of the Osceola Seminole Nation and the Robert Hooks Show. First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, member FDIC. H&R Block of Mississippi County is a tax preparation and financial service located at 2981 West Kaiser in Osceola. They can be reached at 870-563-5710. H&R Block of Mississippi County is a proud sponsor of the Seminole Nation. Roller Swift Funeral Home of Osceola is a proud sponsor of the Seminole Nation and Osceola Seminole Athletics. Located at 2173 US 61 South, Roller Swift Funeral Home specializes in funeral services and helping families with the costs associated with them. For more information, contact them at 870-563-6578 and speak with David Tucker. Roller Swift Funeral Home, with all our respect. Bugmobile of Arkansas, located at 408 South Walnut in Osceola, specializes in pest control and termite control for both residential and commercial properties. Owners Oscar and Jade Gonzalez would be happy to come out and give you a free estimate, and you can also contact Bugmobile at 870-563-6811. Bugmobile is a proud sponsor of your Osceola Seminoles and the Seminole Nation.
And welcome back to the Robert Hook Show. This is our final Robert Hook Show of the year. Man, it's flown by. It's unbelievable how we come every week. And we want to thank Coach Robert Hooks. He's taking time out of his schedule every week to be with us. And, hey, it means the world to us. It tells you that he cares about his the fans, the Seminole fans and the Seminole Nation. But just giving us a little bit more insight on what's going on, Coach. We appreciate that so much. Folks, going forward, we've already did one basketball game. That kind of happened up on us. We were going to wait till after the first of the year. But, the first one was against Rivercrest, and there's a lot of people that were calling, wanting to know if we could do it. It worked out perfectly to where we were able to do it. So we're going to do some basketball. Stay tuned to the Seminole Nation page. We will put up every basketball game we're going to do. Right now, the Seminoles are off. Basketball team are off. They will not play till after the first of the year. I think they have a game January 4th. They're going to play Bartlett over in a classic that they're having at Jonesboro. They're having a big, battle of the teams over there in Jonesboro at the Hurricane Gym, and we're going to play Bartlett. We were scheduled to play Ridgeway. I think Ridgeway had a conflict or something. They dropped out, so Bartlett's coming in and going to play the Seminoles. And
hey, you mentioned something,
go ahead.
and I got to get a cheap plug in here real quick for somebody. You mentioned Rivercrest. I want to shout out to Coach Ellie Robertson.
Yes.
And the Rivercrest senior cheerleaders. Three-peat state champions,
Sure did.
3A cheer game day state champions. I say that because Addison was involved in the first two.
That's right.
But they went down yesterday to Hot Springs, and they come away with another state title. So congratulations to Coach Robertson and those girls. They put a lot of hard work in. I know that for a fact. So good job for those girls.
Yes, good job. And I agree with that 100%. So congratulations on that. But going back to basketball, we did drop the game to Rivercrest the other night by 4, I believe it was.
But you saw some kids out there, Michael, that were hurt.
Coach. Okay.
I mean, they were beat up.
Yeah, wore out. They were
Beat
wore
up.
out. And then we went to Walnut Ridge Thursday night and got a big win at Walnut Ridge. So 1-1 in conference. Man, that's just crazy to say. You have no non-conference games. You start the season out 1-1. But that's because you played football to December the 14th. So I talked to Coach Wilson. What we're going to do, guys, is every week we're going to come to you. We'll get a schedule up after the first of the year. Me and Bobby starting our own sports show here on Seminole Nation called High School Sports with Those Guys. That's going to be the name of the name of the show.
You're going to tell them where the name came from?
Week. No, I'm not. No, I'm not going. I'm not going to do it. We may owe somebody some money down the road, with copyright law or something like that.
I
But
got
no,
you.
I'm not going to tell you where it come from. They ought to know where it come from if they listen to it. But yes, our weekly show starting after the first year will be called High School Sports with Those Guys, and it won't be just Osceola. Don't get me wrong. Now we'll talk about Osceola basketball. Everything's going on with Osceola first. But we'll also talk about basketball from around the regions because that's what's going on right now. We'll tell you about the rankings. We'll do some rankings ourselves. It's going to be something that's very awesome that me and Bobby's been wanting to do. We're going to have Coach Wilson on. And also our basketball girls coach will be on. Folks, we're going to do some girls basketball live stream. We're going to do some boys basketball live stream. And we'll get a schedule up just as soon as we've got it finalized to let everybody know what that schedule is. So it's gonna be huge. I'm telling you.
We're going to have no family life. None.
No family
None at all.
life. It'll be live. We're going to do it live
All in the
every
studio.
week. We're going to want you, like you've done tonight, giving us your questions, asking us questions about what you think is going to happen around the league. I know Manila's showing out right now. They've got a good basketball team led by a very good senior, Mr. Ballou. He's very good.
Yep.
He's the real deal. That's all I can say to you. Manella's got a good basketball team, but so does a lot of teams. Truman, they got Big Ben Turner, real deal, folks. You ever seen this man throw a ball down? He'll tear the rim off the backboard.
Stephon, 3 dunks in the game against Rivercrest. He's got some serious ups.
Had
Stephon Coleman
one at Warner Ridge also. So he's flying around. I just hope he don't get stuck on one of them rims when he's.
He gets close. He gets close.
He's got some ups. Hey, real quick, forgot about this. Didn't forget about it. We just got so much going on in this little bit of time we got. We're almost out of time, by the way. Congratulations to MJ Vance, 3A Player of the Year from the Farm Bureau Awards for the AAA.
He deserved every bit of that.
Yeah.
Folks, I'm going to tell y'all,
bit of it.
and he's so humble. He'll get up and tell you about his linemen. He'll tell you about his wide receivers, had to catch the ball. He'll tell you about his running backs, had to run the ball. But I'm going to tell y'all something. The boy he's full of talent. He's full of talent. He's a very good kid. Shayla and Marlon Vance has raised a awesome kid. I've had him since he was a puppy, and I mean that. I've had him since he was little in Opar. He played every sport with us. He's a good kid, very good kid. He deserved everything he got. He's 3A Player of the Year.
6 years ago, we started Pee Wee football, and I looked at you and said, that kid right there is special.
Yeah.
That one right there.
And it means the world to us to be able to follow him through. I mean, just seeing them kids as they come through, knowing how good they were when they played for Opar was it's just awesome.
I'd like to add one thing about MJ, just how tough he is, his toughness. Nobody knew in the playoffs, the last 2 weeks of the regular season, he tore his meniscus. So he played through a torn meniscus, and he actually had a cracked tibia. So he did that all at about 80%. He wasn't 100%, and that kid is a warrior. Fought through adversity, played through pain, and was not gonna sit and watch his team play.
Yes, sir. You go back and look at the games in the playoffs. I think 3 weeks in a row, Bobby, I said it. You're going to see this run on every news station in the state of Arkansas. I know against one of them teams, they carried all 11 men across the goal line.
I'm telling you, he made runs that were unbelievable. We talk about next year. We talk about what you're losing. And I've got to talk about my big lineman friend, Kenyon Troop.
Yes.
There were times that Kenyon absolutely mauled the man across from him. And when I talk about next year, I think about next year and what you lose and what comes back. The ability to block the way that Bill and Kenyon and Chris did across that line, that's huge. But you could see Kenyon on every play with somebody on skates.
Yeah.
And that's just those kids, Trey and Greg and Kenyon and Dan. Dan played with a heart. Dan's not the biggest kid. He's not the fastest kid. But nobody is as fearless across the middle of that football field as Dan Newsome is.
True.
You just look at those Brandon Johnson, the things that Brandon did last year, and you see kids that buy into the team effort, and they realize it's not a superstar game, and you saw it all year. Greg making plays with Trey and Dan blocking, Dan making plays with Greg and Trey blocking. I mean, just you have to really believe in the team concept that Coach Hooks has put on the field, and that's why I think the future is so bright.
I agree 1,000%. I know one of the MJ runs we were talking about got shared on some news or sports show that I watched, and I think it had 56,000 shares, 56,000 views. I mean, the sky's the limit for MJ Vance. He can play basketball. Right now he's out. He's gonna figure out what's going to go on with his knee and stuff. But folks, he wants to play baseball.
He wants to be on the diamond.
He is a excellent baseball player. I mean, I know you look at that big old frame, you go, man, ain't no way he plays baseball, folks. I wish I could have seen him when he was little. Man, he was the real deal when he played baseball. Yeah, he can play it all. So congratulations to MJ Vance, 3A Player of the Year. And we want to say congratulations to this man right here. He's runner up for the Coach of the Year. He won it last year. You know how that is, Coach. He won it last year. Well, we might have to give it to somebody else. Oh, well, okay, when you won it the first year. But you were finalist again last year. Yeah. So look, folks, look at he won it his first year. He's a finalist last year and a finalist this year. 3 years in a row, he's down in Little Rock, standing up on that podium. I want to say congratulations to you, Coach. folks. And just one other thing as a disclaimer: he's in a 10-year contract. He's not available.
Hey, you know what, Michael?
He's not
I
available.
gotta say this.
He's not available. So
He's nice on here and he smiles a lot. He doesn't want to be here.
no,
He's
hates
tired
it.
of us. He's so tired of us.
When I go to practice on Wednesdays,
Oh,
I
he's
say,
sick
"Okay,
of us.
Coach, we call Wednesdays Media Wednesday because we go out there and we talk to him and he don't want this hoopla." When I came and talked to him about doing this sports show every week, he said, "Come on, Michael," but he did it because he knew that it would bring a positive light to the Seminole program. That's why he done it, folks. He's the real deal. I mean, you look up the definition of real deal in the dictionary, you'll see a picture of Robert Hookstead there. That's all I can say. And I call him my friend. I love him more than anything in this world. Coach, I appreciate you being here with us every week.
Thank you.
We look forward to starting this again next year.
Yep.
And we'll give you updates about how the all-season program's going. If we get a final after Christmas or down the road somewhere about what the week 0 game is going to be, we'll pass that along to you as we're doing basketball. But don't forget, we're going to, after the first year, we'll have a schedule up for our basketball, all our basketball live streams, and girls and boys. And you'll on our weekly sports show, you'll get to see Vernon Wilson and our girls basketball coach also as we move. Yeah, Mr. Young, as we keep moving.
Coach
down the
Wilson
road.
said he's getting his time.
Yeah,
He's getting his time.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, Coach Wilson.
He don't want to start coaching football, but he's getting his time.
Hey, you know what? Just real quick, Coach Wilson's had to wait at least 2 years, almost 3 years, to start basketball deep into December.
Yep.
And a lot of these teams have already been playing. We played Rivercrest the other night. They got put out in week 1, and that's not a jab at them. That's just saying they've already been playing. Walnut Ridge, they've been playing. Osceola loses the state championship game on Saturday night. They have a practice on Sunday, have a practice on Monday, and they go to play against a rival game. I mean, that's hard to do. And
Very solid Rivercrest team.
Very solid.
Shamar Jones,
Well coached.
and Cam Turner, that bunch. They're a solid. Cullen Brown, that's a solid basketball team.
Yes, well coached, very well coached.
Askew.
Oh
Yeah, the Askew kid hit.
Yes.
The free throws he hit the other night was the
Big,
game. I'm telling you, he did very well. So hey, like I said, we're gonna have a weekly show starting after the first year. We'll let you know exactly what night those shows are gonna be, and we're also gonna have a lot of live streams coming up for your basketball program. So to our sponsors, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much.
And if Michael calls touchdown on a made bucket, don't get upset.
Well, I think one time the other night, instead of coming across the half-court line, I said we were across the midfield stripe.
That's right. We crossed midfield.
So, hey, I'm going to try to do the best we can. It's a lot different than doing basketball.
It
than
is.
doing football.
It is.
At least football, you get to take a breath and say, oh, okay, what are we going to do next? But basketball's up and down, and you wait for them timeouts. So, Coach, you got anything final to say before we get out of here on our final show?
And just like to thank you guys. Like to thank the community for all the support. And like to thank my seniors for all the hard work that they have given the program, and just for the success that they have had. That's it.
Bobby?
I want to say to RJ that I'm proud that you let us do this. I'm proud to be associated with the group that you're coaching, and we in my line of work and what I do professionally, you hear a lot about Mississippi County, you hear a lot about Blytheville, Osceola, and those things, and then I look at these kids and I realize, no, we've got good kids.
No doubt.
We've got good kids, and I'm proud that they bought in. It could be a nuisance for them as well, but they bought into what we were trying to do, and they acquitted themselves so well this year, so well. They did such a good job all year long representing Osceola and Mississippi County as a whole, and that's what we really want to see out of all of this is a positive image for our community and what where we grew up, where we're from, and see that going forward and letting people know that not only is Mississippi County a great place to live, but we have some athletes here. We put a sports product on the field and on the court and on the diamond that is as good as anywhere in the state. Yeah, and track. And
Yeah.
So
right.
we want to continue to project that positive image, and without the way you do things, it'd be hard for us to do.
Thank you. I'd also like to thank my coaches, my coaching staff, and administration. Without them, it wouldn't be possible. And also the coaches' wives. Just like these guys say, we spent a lot of time away from our wives, and I just like to thank all the coaches' wife and my wife personally, just for putting up.
You
with
married
us.
up, by the way. I just
Yeah,
want you to know that.
I'll kick my coverage. Ain't no
I
doubt about that.
I know you, so you did well.
I'd like to thank thank my wife.
Yes, we want to thank Mr. Alfred Hogan, Superintendent of Osceola Public Schools, Mr. Russell Leggett, Athletic Director at Osceola High School. We want to thank them so much for allowing us to do what we do here. They help us out. We get a little grief every so often, but hey, it's all a part of the game.
We love them.
We love them, and we do this to try to get. I mean, we had people from Florida, and we even had one guy, Heath Brown. He's an alumni. I've known Heath a long time. He lives in Lake Placid, Florida. And when I first saw that, first thing I thought of was, is that where the Olympics was done? But no, it wasn't.
No, that was in New York.
Yeah. So
Hey, we had a guy in Nevada, class of 71, 72, I think.
yeah,
Out of Las Vegas or Reno
Yep,
somewhere.
Dallas, Texas.
And yeah, I mean, so you got.
all over the world.
It's good that the alumni comes back and gives back, to
That's right.
what we've got going on here. And one of the biggest ones, Greg Reese. Greg makes a lot of this possible.
He's an
You
alumni.
see the banner right there on the front of the table. Greg's an alumni, and he's in full support of what we've got going. Without Greg, we don't do this.
That's exactly right. Most of our sponsors are alumni. I mean, you have some
That's
that have
correct.
been around this program a long time that have sponsored, but most of our sponsors have been alumni. So, folks, that's going to be it. This is the last Robert Hook show of the year. Thank you so much to our sponsors for allowing us to do this. Wanna
Ed
thank Coach-
Harshman, Grant Barnett, Tyler Dunnigan, Connie Goodlow,
David Tucker.
David Tucker,
Tyler Dunnigan?
The outpouring and the playoffs, Michael, and we've mentioned this before.
Yes.
We had to pay AAA to broadcast the playoff games. Boom, 10 minutes, we've got them covered. The outpouring from the community has just been huge.
Yes, that's what it's all about. So we'll continue on into basketball, folks. Stay tuned to our Facebook page and our YouTube page. We'll let you know what our schedule is going to be after the first of the year. For Robert Hooks, for Bobby Eflin, for Jade Gonzalez, our producer director, for Addison Eflin and Gage Eflin, who did our cameras this year. We appreciate them so much. This is it. Merry Christmas to everyone. I hope everyone's holidays are great.
We were supposed to have Christmas decorations,
Yeah.
but as you guys can see, Jade fell down on the job.
Just remember
blew
one
it.
thing as we get
Blew
into the Christmas season. It's all
No
about
tree,
family. It's all
no-
about family.
No lights, no Santa Claus hats. I got a candy cane. No, look, check
Yep.
this
Well,
out.
at least you got something. Remember, folks, the reason it's all about family, and I promise you, if you don't learn anything else about Robert Hooks, he treats all of his players, he treats all of his coaches, and he treats his friends like players. I'm like family. All the players are family, and that's why this is so special. We get to do this as family. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we'll see you next year on the Robert Hooks Show.